Hello, welcome to the new studio and welcome to the new show. This show that you're watching now is the Product Design Blueprint. It's a series of shows that we're going to be showing over the next few months, maybe years. It depends how well it goes, really. We're filming them in conjunction with Adobe at Adobe's lovely offices in London, which you'll see on the videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to be kept up to date with future videos. And if you've got any questions or comments, leave them down below. So without further ado, let's get started. In this video, we've got Anita-Mai Goulding from Adobe taking us through XD and some of its great new features.
All right, so my name's Anita-Mai. I'm part of the XD Strategic Development team. Essentially, I lead XD in the UK and Ireland, and I work between the product team and our wonderful customers. So yeah, it's lovely to have you all today, and thank you for joining us. Okay, so as part of my Service Design Showdown, I'm really keen to take you guys through how we in the XD product team are building XD. Obviously, it's no surprise that the design industry is pretty fierce, hey? We've had some incredible, competitors going on at the moment, and in previous years, especially with XD, you could sort of agree that we were maybe late to the game, right? Photoshop was dominant, and then 5 years ago, this wonderful tool, I'm not sure if you guys have heard of it, Sketch, came out. And, we acknowledge, as Adobe, we are not, really serving our customers. And how can we change that? How, we're building XD, and it is different to how we're building, our other kind of legacy tools. And then how, on the other side of things, we're also empowering our customers to utilize XD to build fantastic products, services, and applications. Okay, so to start things off, this is one of my favorite quotes on service design. So in my previous roles at Microsoft, as well as Deloitte Digital, I was lucky enough to work with some fantastic companies on, really redesigning not just their, products, applications, but their overall end-to-end service. So specifically, one kind of sector that I worked heavily in when I was based out in our US office is Dell. So this is a quick example I'm just going to take you guys through just before we then delve into more around XD. So with Dell, I worked with them for 15 weeks on redesigning their call center. So for kind of call centers, we're based all over North America, India, and Europe. This was really understanding why customers had to wait anywhere from 26 to 43 minutes to either get a new part delivered or get a replacement keyboard or monitor device sent out to them. And in doing this, we couldn't just look at the overall, customer experience. Obviously, for us as creatives, we always want to understand, the customer's goals, wants, and needs. What is it that they need to have a fantastic end-to-end customer experience with Dell? So that was obviously critical. But on the flip side of that, looking at the overall service, so what was the back-end technology powering this, which was Siebel? How could that be optimized to, really empower Dell's customers calling up their call centers? On the side of that as well is speaking to the warehouse staff, understanding what was, taking so long essentially for them to, identify parts and functionality in their, Dell warehouses from customers as well. And of course, technical account managers. We also spoke to sales folks who are out with maybe Dell's enterprise customers, decking out all of the a big offices, kit with Dell computers and so forth. So based on something which we kicked off with, which was a co-creation workshop, and of course off the back of that, some fantastic service design assets were created, such as personas, journeys, blueprints, which I'll come on to more in more detail. We really tested these pilots under real conditions to truly evaluate the impact it had on customers' call time. And in the end, decreased by 63%, and the customer satisfaction rate increased by 41%, which was awesome. And this is something which was scaled out globally globally, and in due course they went from having, as you can see here, around 3 screens to just using one single screen. So this is this is probably my favorite example. And I've also worked in a call center, so I can chat, and I loved working in a call center, of how we took like this service design approach to really empower not just Dell customers but everyone in Dell universally. Okay, so here's an example of a blueprint, something which we put together. It's not just looking at the front-facing customer journey in their experience, but the overall, back-end tech, for example, and the processes as well. So yeah, so being a techie, this is something which I always love putting together and still do a lot with customers. Okay, so let's get on to the juice, the XD part. So in terms of kind of 5 principles where like we believe in, supporting our customers and us ourselves and the XD product team, taking this holistic approach to customer experience, is first developing a user approach. When Sketch came down, and we had to reassess where we were as a company, who's built on creative software, to today, we actively have to go out and speak to our customers, you guys, and really understand what their, wants and needs are from their design tool. And in, Building XD, we are releasing anywhere from 5 to 12 features every month. And I'll come on to that more in a sec. A second area is how can we, continue building XD, not just to empower the design team, but all areas of the product and digital team, as well as, stakeholders as well. So like developers, business analysts, we now have marketeers using XD. So again, what started off as a tool just for the UX team has really built into being this experience design collaboration platform. And more so, how can we, working with our customers, help them get that, cross-functional buy-in across their organization or with their clients as well. The third area is around thinking of a service as a sequence of moments. So one project I did last year with Deloitte Digital and IKEA was, kind of taking IKEA's approach to building furniture. I've just moved house and I still can't, I'm having an abysmal time building furniture. I've had to actually pay someone to do it for me, which is so embarrassing. But with this is, taking that paper-based approach to building IKEA furniture, utilizing voice prototyping in XD, and having having customers use a voice prototype to, a voice functionality to build their IKEA products. So another way of reimagining customer services. The fourth example is demonstrating through tangible evidence. So one example that, I've been with Monzo since day one, by taking their customers' feedback on, gambling and, kind of working with them to overcome, their kind of gambling addiction. This has been incredibly powerful across the industry. And more so, how we as creatives have to support all types of customers and users and really understand their true needs. And then finally, having a holistic approach to the CX. So as I mentioned around accessibility, how we as creatives can get that internal buy-in to support building more customer-centric product apps and services. So I'm going to take you guys through an example that I've been working on, which is around accessibility in the connected home. All right, so let's get to it. And just a heads up, this presentation is built in Adobe XD. So if you guys want any assets, you want any vibes, tweet me, dictaphone_girl, and I will share this with you guys for sure. All right, so developing a user approach. So as I mentioned, we're always getting our customers' feedback. That is pivotal to how we're building XD. We are not in some secret squirrel, diamond-encrusted room in San Francisco or San Jose building XD. We're constantly going out to customers. I have to have at least like an hour's of customer research every single day. I'm constantly out with customers doing research sessions with them, co-creation workshops, all of that amazing stuff, really understanding the features and functionalities they need to optimize their creative workflow. So earlier this year, I worked with PlayStation on, understanding how they're prototyping video games, for example. And, it was quite a long process. They were using After Effects. I'm not sure if anyone here day-to-day uses After Effects. Okay, I mean, I work for Adobe. I can open After Effects, and I feel proud at that, you know. But they wanted like a different way of prototyping their concepts and testing them with customers. So based on like a 6-month research project we did with PlayStation, constantly getting them to test how they can prototype their video games in XD, we now have a keypad and game board trigger in our prototype mode in XD, just to support our gaming customers. So stuff like that is where we are just, you know, really cracked down on as much as possible servicing our customers. So in terms of our product backlog, that's something which we've made publicly available, and that's at uservoice.com. I can send this out to anyone who is keen to know more. If you do want specific product requests, I'm like a human user voice, so you can just ask me. Based on the amount of votes you can see here, plus the feedback we get from the field, going out and doing this, you know, hands-on research, we take that, we rank them, we do all the affinity mapping to really kind of produce our 12-month roadmap. We only take a 12-month view on what's coming out in XD, and we're bringing out, as I mentioned, new features and functionality every month. So in doing that, this is my wonderful colleague, Hoyle. He's a product manager based in San Francisco. He's really mainly focused on the design to dev handoff, because that's something which, you know, as creatives, especially in enterprise organizations, we always want to, you know, make sure that what we're building based on our customers' goal, wants and needs is being actually built by developers and giving them a smooth handoff process as well. So in terms of building features in XD, we take like a 6-month like lean startup approach mainly. And yeah, throughout that, we're always testing, always going back to customers and getting their feedback on upcoming features and functionality. So an example of this, anyone here used XD? I have to ask, I'm too cute, I'm too nosy. Oh my God, fantastic. I'm going to come harass you all. I'm kidding, I promise I won't. So has anyone here used like auto animate? Anyone here used auto animate? Yep, so that's everything in this presentation. I have ADHD, so I love auto animate, and I can't use After Effects that well, so it's perfect for me. So auto animate is basically an XD doing basic animation, and this was released in October last year. So based on it being released, I've had customers come to me and the rest of my kind of global team and the rest of the product team saying, you know, we love auto animate, but you have to go across so many artboards to get that animation, as I'm sure you guys have all experienced. But we still can't create GIFs. I had one customer who had 40 artboards in XD just to create a GIF. I mean, that is long, no? 40 artboards. So with Auto Animate Choreography, which is coming out in 3 weeks' time, it's how can we, you know, really support creators to build more GIFs or more detailed animation just on one single artboard. So as you can see, with Auto Animate Choreography coming out in 3 weeks, on one single artboard, you have all the different, you know, like you have your coffee cup here, you have all the different interactions that you want, such as the location, the timer, the cancel button, and really having more control on the duration, the timing, and the easing, so to really support customers. And in terms of how we're now developing XD as a experience design collaboration platform, is to almost be that single source of truth across the rest of the Adobe Creative Cloud stack. So no, XD is never going to be like After Effects. We want to keep it lightweight, we want to keep it cloud-based and so forth. But in terms of, you know, giving all types of creatives like more control over building animated interactions, we're bringing out Auto and Animate Choreography. And if you want to put this into After Effects and build a Pixar movie out of this coffee cup, you can just export your artboards into After Effects. Okay, so the second area is around being in the process of co-creation with all stakeholders. Oh my God, this is probably my favorite one. So in terms of not just working in, you know, some secret squirrel room, you know, building like usable and like user-friendly product services and applications, we have to go to our clients, our internal stakeholders, and get that buy-in across even our internal team. So one thing which we've been working on in the XD product team is this notion around design systems. systems, which I'm sure everyone hears about every single day. They're like pretty heavy at the moment. And in terms of our competitors' space, they have, again, beat us to this with design systems. But in terms of the XD team, how we've, perceived and fed back design systems from our customers is that not just being, again, for the design team, being for the dev team as well, product managers, business analysts, and so forth. So again, in next month's release of XD, and I promise I'll stop doing that, well, I'll try to anyway, by bringing out design systems, you can again have this single source of truth of all the character styles, all the components, all the interactions, like your amazing GIFs and everything in one single source of truth. And with that as well, not just having everything that people can pull and, paste into their XD designs, but also having annotations to keep that transparency. So whether you're brand new to the team or you are an engineer who's taking something and building an application, you kind of have that feedback and transparency, as well as code snippets as well. So design systems is like our starting point as to getting that co-creation with stakeholders. Another avenue we're looking at, and if I open up my, how convenient, my XD file here, as you can see, I've got all my kind of designs in one page. And Ian from Sainsbury's at the back said to me earlier, one thing about XD, I've got everything in one page. Fear not, Ian. Later this year, we're going to bring out pages in XD. So you can have your low fidelity wireframes here. You can have like another tab for your Android screens, your UX redline specs and so forth, just so that it's not in one big screen. Because I agree, it can get a bit confusing. Okay, so as you can see, I've got all my designs here. And in terms of, finishing designing and then prototyping them, you guys get this, and then sharing them, I have the ability to choose if I want to have new links or manage my previous links, and also being able to share my links for development as well. So by taking this as an example and pasting it, such as here, I can go in and share this with my development team just by sending them a link. And by clicking on it, they can see all the character styles, the colors, the interactions down here as well as click on it and see that code snippet as well. And code snippets is something which we're like increasing more and more to really, again, improve that design to dev handoff and bringing everyone on board. And as well, of course, putting your comments in as well, which can be exported into Jira, Slack, or Trello as well, as XD has integration with those few features. The other thing as well you can do is share your link for like a presentation, for design review, development, as I just showed you, a presentation for user testing, and then customize it as well. Just so more and more like us guys, like in the creative teams, can get that buy-in, share our designs far more easily with the relevant stakeholders. Okay, so moving on. The kind of next example I'm going to take you guys through is think of a service as a sequence of moments. So that IKEA example that I mentioned to you about. And again, using...
Help you build your roaster stool.
Oh, I'm so glad it worked earlier. My sound is getting a bit hectic. So how can IKEA reimagine, instruction manuals using voice assistants? And that's something which Deloitte Digital and IKEA worked on together, me with my Froster stool. So even though building IKEA furniture is fine, who here has IKEA furniture? I do, yeah, it's great. But how can IKEA even more and more, help people have a better experience building it? If you're like me and you can barely fix a coffee machine. Okay, so the next example I'm going to take you guys through is demonstrate through tangible evidence. And for us, we do this all the time. So basically, in our June release of XD, we introduced a grid view to share prototypes, which I can show you guys here. So this is the grid view. As you can see, it's just a grid. And this was to replace the layout view, which is this kind of flow view, which shows all the overall interactions. This got canned on Twitter. I had customers WhatsApping me being like, what is this grid view? It doesn't make any sense. What does this grid mean? How is my team going to understand it? This, flow view is so much more intuitive. It's so much more accessible for people in the wider product team to understand. So we had to apologize on Twitter. I had to apologize to customers. And after 3-week turnaround, we actually now have 2 different views. So we have the grid view still for pretty much no one who wants to use it. And then we also have the layout kind of flow view as well. So this is an example again on, continuously speaking to people and ensuring that everything like which you're building isn't just like a one-hit wonder, but through evidence and, being scalable over time, it's still working. So that's the XD's point of things. So Monzo, oh my gosh, I actually have a lot of friends who've really benefited from this gambling box. So it does resonate with me on a more personal level. But just in terms of how they're obviously building Monzo Bank, like having a team of people, who always are working with vulnerable customers and getting as much feedback as possible. And then over time, seeing a 70% decline, which is just absolutely unbelievable, and the massive impact that's made. Like this is something where, for me as a creative, that I want to, do more of. And I think around, accessible design and, like designing for all types of people, that's something which we continuously have to consider and work towards. Okay. And the final example is that holistic approach to the CX. So, for me, I've always been, despite talking incessantly all the time, I always love building a prototype to kind of share with, the kind of tech teams, the dev teams, all my stakeholders, what's working and what's not. And as I mentioned around how I'm working with some customers around this accessible connected home and drawing on accessibility, I'm going to show you something I whipped up earlier, which you guys again are welcome to share. It's this home safe like voice prototype, and how through voice prototyping and sharing this with people, I can really communicate my idea around what a connected home would look like far easier. So if anyone wants access to this or wants a session with me on how to build a voice prototype, tweet me or just catch me up afterwards. So I'm not going to take you guys through this prototype that I've been working on. And yeah, if you want it, just let me know. So to test your voice prototypes in XD, you can do it on an Alexa or an Echo device. You can also do it on your phone. This isn't my phone, but here is a phone example. And you can also do it on your laptop. You just need internet connection. And this is something which we worked on with the Alexa team over at Amazon. Another great partnership. Okay, so let me play this. I'm going to make sure my sound is on and we're good. Alexa, did I lock everything? Okay. Can you check that the lights are still on? So you can see that.
Are on in the living
There
room.
we go.
Do you want to turn them off?
Diva Alexa. Yes.
Okay, all the lights are off.
Can you put the kitchen lights on tomorrow at 7 a.m.?
Okay, I've set an alarm for 7 a.m. for the kitchen lights.
And there we go. That is voice prototyping in XD. Same about the shade from Alexa, but that's not a problem. But in terms of the micro interactions and everything, I can then, send this prototype to my customers or my stakeholders or the rest of my team to get their buy-in as well. As I showed previously, with being able to comment and so forth, just here. So if someone was testing my voice prototype, you don't have to be an Adobe customer to, use this. You can sign in as Bob, if that's your name. Make a comment to like change this voice and put it here, for example, to really keep that transparency. And in our January release of XD, you can bring in your own voice and audio files into XD as well. So you can make your own Anita prototypes or your own Simon prototypes or whatever you want to do, which is pretty cool. So yeah, very good to getting that internal buy-in. All right, so just to wrap up, as I mentioned, please tweet me at dictaphone_girl if you want any more of these UI kits and icon sets which I've shown tonight. If you guys want any training, my team is always doing XD training with customers as well to get set up. And also, you know, we've built design systems for customers and so forth. And then to really understand all our different plugins and integrations, as I mentioned with, you know, Alexa, Jira, Slack, Trello, and so forth, please message me. And then finally, you can stay up to date with all our latest features and what's coming out and so forth at the XD blog. So thanks, guys. That's it. Thank you.